What if ancient Egypt had discovered the perfect formula for true righteous living? And this has been hidden in plain sight for over 4,000 years. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the one document that proves and settles the fact of the matter of what it means to be a good person, and in fact, the only rules that we need to abide by in this life. These aren't the 10 Commandments, these are the 42 ideals of Maat.
Free your mind.
So these 42 ideals that I'm about to break down for you are actually the guidance of all ancient civilizations that were righteous. Unfortunately, all of them fell under bad times and under natural disasters. But if this was to be revived in the modern age, we would be able to thrive beyond belief. We would be able to succeed and be a righteous society worldwide. If you master these ideals, you will unlock the same divine balance that built the pyramids. So quickly, before I actually break down the 42 ideals, it must be understood who this Maat was, spelled M-A''A'-T, was one of the Egyptian goddesses. And I just want to say, you can take the literal version of the Egyptian pantheon. You may think that they were actually existing, that they were, big people in the sky looking down at all of us, judging us and representing different things, when actually anyone who does some real esoteric study will understand the goddesses and the gods of the ancient times in all different ancient societies and cultures. They were representative. They weren't literal physical beings. They were symbolic in symbolizing the different forces of nature and ultimately the different expressions of the creator. Maat is no different. You can think all you like in a childish view that she is some winged angel looking down at all of us. It is simply a concept that is meant to be metaphorical of one of the dynamics that exist. And this goddess is the most important, than basically more than any of them, other than the creator itself. Maat is the goddess of truth, justice, wisdom, and ultimately, therefore, peace and harmony, quite honestly, because if you do even the smallest amount of research, and this is what this channel is all about, a life that is serving and respecting truth and freedom as its highest ideal, that is a society that will flourish beyond all imagination. If we hold truth at the highest regard and ultimately the only religion that truly really exists, if we hold truth in such a high regard and respect it and love it as much as we can, we will flourish. The truth is all that matters. The truth is the only religion that really should be worshipped. So Maat was the ancient Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, harmony, and balance. She represented many different things, of course, especially morality, hence the name of the channel. She first emerged in 2613 BCE, a long time ago, and ultimately that's all this information has been forgotten. It's still here, but it's been forgotten. Perhaps once accepted as common sense, now put by the wayside as just some niche story. However, actually, it's quite plausible that the concept of Maat existed before this time, because of course these concepts are eternal. They just have different names, different symbology. The concept remains because the truth is eternal. There's nothing new under the sun. And so as you can see, Maat was often represented as a goddess with 2 large wings and a feather in her hat, an ostrich feather, some say. And this was key in understanding the whole plan of life, and especially the afterlife, because it was said that when you die, you are taken into the afterlife, but before you were actually taken on into the underworld, you were judged, and Maat played a heavy role in this. The feather that she had on her headband was taken off and weighed against your heart on a scales. This concept is powerful when you understand it. It doesn't have to be literal once again. It's metaphorical, because what it's representing is that if your heart is lighter than a feather, or at least equally in weight, you're going to be all right. The only way to really bring that about is through representing and standing in truth and righteousness and morality, ultimately, because that's what Maat represents. So if you live with a light heart, if you live respecting all these things that I'm about to speak about, you will be in the best place possible. That's when you really will be saving your soul and going to heaven and living in righteousness and in, God's good books, in other words. And if your heart was heavier than this feather, some say you'd be reincarnated, some say you wouldn't be allowed into the underworld, some say you'd be put into purgatory or hell, things like that. But either way, you ain't going to go somewhere good, at least on that time around. So you want to live every single moment as much as you can, every single day, as if it was your last, and always keep in mind that your heart must be lighter than that feather. You must live with the lightest heart possible, the highest vibration, and with the utmost respect for truth and morality. These are the highest of goods, not just worshipping or having faith or just belief in some figure. Deeply understanding and respecting the crucial nature of truth and morality. And so beyond this allegorical story of the heart and the feather, Maat also represented, as I said, truth, order, harmony, morality, and justice. All things that bring about order, of course. These principles were believed to be the fundamental governing principles of the universe. And so the Egyptians that really had their heads screwed on right, and especially were initiated into the mystery schools, they would understand that each individual is responsible for seeking this information and living with truth as your highest aspiration. That you live a life honouring others and respecting nature. Because, as we've briefly mentioned in the past, nature and God were synonymous in ancient Egypt. Necha, NTR, meant God or spirit. That's where the word natural comes from. So they are one and the same. So if you really respect truth and other people, because the law of one states, as one suffers, all suffer. We are all connected, whether you believe it or not. We're all one and the same. We're all connected. God is everywhere. And so if you respect others like yourself, the golden rule, and you respect the natural world and all of the important things, truth, justice, freedom, then you will absolutely be one of these light beings. You will be one of these true spiritual masters. And it's to some it might sound like it's difficult, but it's not hard. You just have to stop engaging in all of the wrongdoings that you normally do, and you have to stop with the distraction and the nonsense. You have to just focus and understand that truth is the utmost importance, and it's not some relative what actually is truth. It's understandable. God isn't just teasing us with its unknowability. It's simply a choice away. And again, it's more about what you stop doing. Once you stop supporting the wrong things, when you stop just living as just another sheep, you're on a very good path to walking this. And so finally, the belief that one was living in accordance with Maat meant that you are aligning yourself with the divine, one and the same, because that's where it is. God is within. All you have to do is look within and respect certain things and understand these principles. You will be in alignment with the divine will. We spoke about this in the last episode. The true will, the higher will, thy will of the Creator. That is what matters. That is truth, love, order, freedom. And if we really try and bring that about and respect that and have that as our utmost purpose beyond anything else, that is the path to really being this master. And ultimately, when you really respect these things, you are going to see the harmony that comes about in your life. It's not going to be a walk in the park completely, because everyone has their trials, tribulations, and their daily troubles. That's just the fact of the matter. But you are going to see a lot less obstacles. You're going to see a lot more synchronicities and correspondences of things that just seem a bit too perfectly timed and a bit too odd and strange, that they were just random coincidences. You're going to see a lot more of those and a lot less obstacles in your life. Everyone has the freedom to accept or reject these things, because as much as people want to reject free will is the gift that we all have. And if we utilize and understand that and use it to say, there is my will and there is thy will, and I'm going to walk that one, then you really are walking into this slipstream, this riptide of creation. And then they believed that making this choice of really walking in the path of the Creator, of thy will, then you are going to lead yourself into the judgment of the hall of truth. The hall of truth, not the hall of belief or faith. And as I said, you are going to be in a very good place when you're walking in that alignment, because you're going to come face to face with the Creator when you die, and it's going to say, did you just worship money or some false belief system? Or did you understand and respect the truth and walk that way? And so these 42 ideals that I'm now going to break down will allow you a little clearer to understand really certain ways that we can live. And you'll notice how these are often called the 42 ideals. We are not perfect. We are not spiritual angels that don't even have any free will, so we're going to live by the books. We all have our off days. We all have our certain times we falter and fall off the path. They're ideals. They are things that we should have as the goal. And step by step, we can start living with more and more of them. And it's more about what you do most of the time. So if you try and check off these ideals as much as you can and remember and respect them as much as you can, again, you're going to be in a much better place than just someone who goes, oh, that's all junk. I'm just going to sit around and try and make some more money, or just try and eat some more Doritos and play my Call of Duty. If you follow these ideals and have them as your bar that you set for yourself, you're going to be in a great place. So these 42 ideals will help you understand a little clearer, instead of just saying, oh, I value truth and justice. They're great, but of course, unless you know the specifics, it's going to be a bit more difficult to just have these big concepts and say, I follow those. These ideals will help you mark down a better idea. And some of these will need a bit more clarification than others, but I'll just list them off and you can contemplate upon them yourself in your own time. A lot of them speak for themselves, but they're powerful nonetheless. So number 1, I honour virtue. What was I just saying? Living every single moment with virtue, truth, morality, freedom, justice in your mind as much as you can. The highest thing, the highest standard that you set for yourself, and the thing that you value upon beyond anything else, the thing that you must have at the centre of your focus, so that you know when you die, that day when you die, inevitably, you can smile to yourself and think, I have lived my life in the best way possible to try and honour virtue. Because virtue, especially on the mass scale, is the thing that will bring society to its optimal condition. Tell yourself right now, ask yourself, does the average person honour virtue? They may think they do. Most people are nice. Most people are going to do the small little niceties. They may help the old lady across the street, at least most of them. They may give the occasional bit of money to charity, or the occasional bit of change to the homeless person. But virtue goes beyond this. I've discussed this in the past, and there will be episodes in the future of really the things that are virtues. These ideals are the virtues, quite honestly. It's the things, just the simple things. But what I'm getting to is most people on the street, they do the nice little things, but that's not enough, because they will call themselves a good person. But then if you really ask them, okay, what is a wrong, what is a right? Some things are just ingrained in our common sense, so they'll be able to give you those things. But it's never accurate, it's never specific. And if we can't specifically, get to the meat of them, we're going to be halfway at best. So honouring virtue is key. I benefit with gratitude. Every tiny little thing that you have in your day-to-day life, you take for granted very quickly, because that is in our nature of sort of within like a few days or a couple of weeks, whatever. If we have something that it just comes, everyone just has a mobile phone now. We take that for granted. Once upon a time, someone didn't even know what a phone is. We take it for granted now, where if you weren't to have a phone, you'd be distraught. Most people, especially my age, You can't walk around anywhere without it cemented in your hand or in your pocket at least. These little things that we take for granted now, even life, breath, food, a bed, air, water, a shower, every tiny little thing that you have in your day-to-day life that you may just think, oh, yeah, true, it's good, but you never think of it. You must be as grateful as you can for this. Thankfully, a lot more people nowadays are emphasising the importance of gratitude in the whole New Age circle. There's more and more people speaking about, giving thanks and affirmations, things like that, but it shouldn't be played down into just some woo-woo cliche of, oh yeah, thanks, I'm alive. You really need to, with power, appreciate everything you have, because as quickly as it was given to you, it can be taken away and more just as quickly. The habit that I like to do is the second you wake up and go to sleep every single day, build a habit into this of just giving thanks. The second, I have not missed a day of doing this for years now. The second that your eyes open in the morning and you see light and you realise I'm awake, the second that happens, think to yourself, thank you. I'm alive. I've had good sleep. I know I've got breakfast in a minute. I know I've got water that's going to come out of the tap downstairs. I know that I've got a safe room to be in, a big enough one as well. There's a garden perhaps, there's a house that I'm in, etc, etc. There's tiny, you can go into the tiny minutiae or all the larger things that you are blessed with every day. Wake up and just give thanks, immense thanks, and you will see when you really live your life with true gratitude, when you mean it instead of just saying it, you will see great doors open. You will see more of the same come in. Because when you acknowledge to Creator and creation, I'm grateful for what this is and for what's coming to me, trust me, you are going to be receiving a lot more of it. And better things as well, especially when you really focus on it and then, put the intention out there that other things can come too. It doesn't have to just be money and resources. Everything. Life itself. The moment you wake up and go to sleep, give great thanks. Number 3, I'm peaceful. Says it all. You don't have to be some pacifist on the street of, I'm not going to, we don't want to harm animals, quite honestly. We don't want to harm other people. Do no harm. That's the whole motto of the show. But being peaceful, just being, a light-hearted, spirit, happy individual, someone that's just really peaceful. Don't be afraid to, if someone infringes, you can flip that switch, like Jesus in the money-changing temple. You can have that capacity, the self-defense principle of defending yourself and, really becoming Hulk when it's needed. You don't have to be some pacifist, but being a peaceful, pleasant, light-hearted person is good. I respect the property of others. This can be emphasised on this channel. That's what all morality comes from. All rights are property rights. You must understand what your property is and what your property isn't, starting with the body. Ever since we're born, no one can take that from us, no matter what they say. The products of our labour, through taxation, of course. We must understand what is property and what isn't. I've spoke about this before, I think I've did a whole episode on it, but property is simply something that you've acquired rightfully, that you are responsible for, and that, of course, it's not eternally yours, but it's something that you are looking after and you rightfully acquired, and you're not harming anyone in the ownership of that. Respect other people's property, they'll respect yours. That is where true harmony comes about. I affirm that all life is sacred. People think nowadays that they wouldn't harm a fly. Meanwhile, they've got a dead pig on their plate. It's cognitive dissonance that people often live in, but really understanding that life is everywhere in everything, even down to the microbe level. There is life everywhere. Nothing is stagnant. There is life and vibration in everything. Plants, animals, humans. No matter what it is, you've got to respect it's all just another emanation of the Creator, and you've got to respect that accordingly. Because if you disrespect any of that, by way of action, you are disrespecting the Creator of it. Of course, there's levels to it. A tiny fly, a big human being, it's all one and the same. Do your very best. Once again, you don't have to be some perfect idealist of this. Understand, read between the lines of what I'm saying. All life is equal. If someone's sentient, and the word animal comes from animus, Latin, spirit. They aren't just robots walking around. Respect all life accordingly. I give offerings that are genuine. You want to receive, you must give. If you really generously, open-heartedly, expecting nothing, give to other people, to good causes that are really good causes, not just things that you've been deceived into thinking are doing well, when actually everyone that runs the charity, for example, is getting a nice fat paycheck. Really focus on actually giving properly. When people least expect it, give them a nice gift. Things like that. Offering other people. There's a reason why in ancient cultures they would give offerings to the gods, because they understand that it's all reciprocal. The universe is one of the laws of it is, reciprocation. As you give out, you'll receive. It's like a magnet, two ways. Number 7, and it's no accident why it's 7, I live in truth. Once again, there is no higher religion, no higher virtue than truth itself. Truth is the greatest good. God, ultimately, is love, but it is truth as well. With every waking moment, with everything you support, everything you do, try your very best to keep in mind what is true, what is false, what is right, what is wrong. If you really focus on and respect and live for truth, trust me, great forces are going to come to your aid. Number 8, I regard all altars with respect. I won't make such a huge point out of this. If you haven't already gathered from my past videos, I'm not the greatest fan of religion, but the point is of this, at least in my interpretation, is that with all altars in spiritual and religious places, they are at the least trying to have a sacred, respectful place of this is devoted to the Creator, or at least one of its manifestations. As it says in the Bible, we shouldn't, worship idols as such. We have to all understand that behind everything, there is just a Creator that must be understood and respected. But at the very least, understand that what these religions and traditions are trying to represent in these different altars, they're trying to represent the Creator and the things that are, good. So you don't have to worship accordingly, but what this is at least trying to say, in my opinion, is, understand what they're trying to represent with altars, respect them accordingly, because it's just another representation of the divine. Respect that accordingly. I speak with sincerity. Be sincere. Have your word be bond. This is crucial. If you just throw around words to people and just make false promises, and lies especially, it's bad, not good. As we'll see when I speak of occult initiation in a future episode, one of the actual tenets is stop lying. Especially stop lying to yourself, but stop lying in general. Stop lying to others. Stop being insincere. Stop being fake. In this world now, especially with social media, where it's so easy to just tap away some words and fling them out there. Most people are fake. They've got some mask on. They're not integral to themselves. They're not sincere. If you really take your word as bond of where you say you're going to do something, you damn well better do that, or at least something to your best of your ability, close to it. If you really live with that honesty, you will be powerful. You will feel your spirit power rising, and people will respect you too, and people will see that. They can feel it. It's number 10. I consume only my fair share. Again, in this world, people are all too happy to just be completely greedy of, if there's an abundance of something, they'll just rake it all in and take it all in, especially with money. People are just happy to just me. It's the reptilian mindset. It's the satanic mindset, ultimately. We cannot live in that state if we really want to keep receiving things. And even with common sense, most people should just realise, if they're just completely greedy, they may obviously get all those resources in that moment. It's not going to come back around. There is a divine intelligence that is somewhat watching and is just shaking his head going, come on. With every opportunity, I like to think that there is a opportunity to to be tested of, are you going to do the right thing? Are you not? God is always testing you. Some people are uncomfortable with that term, God, but this divine intelligence is always testing you in everything. So if there's a fat pile of money, it's a bad example, but if there's a fat pile of money in front of you and there's 20 people in a room, if you're just, raking all that money in for your me, I don't care what anyone else wants or does, especially if people are more unfortunate than you, it's a test. Number 11, I offer words of good intent. Yes, it's true that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and intent is only a tiny fraction of actually what really matters here, but at least, once again, with your word, when you speak, you must be really conscious of the things that you're saying and what you're really intending with what you say. People, again, especially online, are just happy to just throw out words and just things without thinking. I used to be the same. I used to just completely speak without thinking, and then 2 seconds later, you're like, wait, what did I just say? And it's weird how unconsciously we can do that sometimes. But we must really have, at the very least, good intentions of what we say. What we do, we want to try and have an actual factual basis and truth basis behind it, instead of just trying to do something, I intended to do good, and then it falls into disaster. But intent is the very start. Having good intent with your words is key. I relate in peace, at least in my interpretation of this. Every time that you're speaking with someone, trying to relate with other people, you want to be peaceful about it. You can't just immediately be some arsehole of making people feel bad immediately if they open up to you. You want to try and really get on their level and be peaceful and connect one-to-one with them, and just, again, people will recognise this. They will see the authenticity in this. 13, I honour animals with reverence. Again, people in this day and age, they love a good dog or a cat, and they'll so cute. They might not even harm that fly that flies into their house. They might let it out the window. Meanwhile, what are they having for dinner? Well, let's just say, I don't think they'd be too pleased to see what happened to that animal that is on their plate, that dead flesh. Let's just say they weren't peacefully, lovely stroked, and then just, go to sleep now, little animal, and then they nicely cut up their carcass, process it, put it in the shops, and there you go. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, unless you're very fortunate to have some pasture-raised, free-range sort of stuff, you would break down into tears to see what really goes on in our food alone, let alone the genuine, the daily happenings that happens. Like, I don't understand how people can leave dogs and cats just on the side of the road, because there's so many rescue animals that are about nowadays. It's horrible. Some people, obviously, there's going to be evil people out there, but it's horrendous, the stuff that people will do to animals, and that's just representative of the consciousness of people. And if we can't even respect animals, we can't even respect other people, how do we expect anything good? If these innocent animals that haven't said anything bad to you, they haven't even, like a tiger, they haven't started to attack you, they're just doing their thing, they're just living happily, and you want to go and infringe upon them and do harm to them, no matter what your belief in the creator is, anyone with common sense should realise you're not going to be in a very good space in your soul if you're just treating animals like that, in all ways, especially in what we eat. But it's controversial, but it's the truth, unfortunately. So you must honour animals with reverence. There's a reason why in the past, in the Hindu tradition, they worship the cow. I'm not exactly saying you should worship animals, but, in ancient Egypt, they loved the cat. They loved different animals. They all had their space because they understood, at least the good ones of them, understood that they are just different representations of the omnipresent creation. It's just another manifestation. It's just a different animal that maybe can't speak or act in ways like we do. Doesn't mean they're lesser than us. If they're capable of walking independently of the earth and they are sentient, which is obvious to everyone, and they have all the organs, they should immediately be understood as, it's just another representation of life. I'm going to leave it to do what it wants. I'm going to leave it to be free. It's as simple as that. Morality still applies. We can't expect them to obviously, these animals to sit down and start rationalising out truth and rights and wrong and good and wrong. But unless they start infringing upon you and start trying to attack you, which often is self-defence anyway, you do have the right to defend yourself if an animal is infringing upon you. But other than that, leave them alone. There's a reason why they used to, have adoration for certain animals in the past, because they knew they represent things and they knew they are just another representation of the divine intelligence. Number 14, I can be trusted. How many people in this day and age can you really trust? I mean, I'm quite an advocate of the whole saying, trust no one. It's unfortunate that has to be the case, and I'd like to wish that I could trust people. But in this day and age, I mean, you can trust people with certain things, but out of just your friendship group alone, if you were to leave your wallet out with, a couple $100 sticking out, how many of them are going to look at that and go, no thanks, I'm not a thief, especially a thief of my friend? You'd be surprised how many people would really, they might not say that they would, but if they were really presented with that opportunity, the amount of people that would steal, strangers or friends or family, anything. It's scarce how many people can be trusted nowadays, and it's terrifying that that's the case, and it's just another representation, just another symptom of people nowadays, their consciousness. Like, it's crucial. These are simple things as well, just common sense once again, but they've just been put by the wayside. You must be a trustworthy person. Your word must be bond. What you say you do, you must follow through with it. And if you respect really what is right, the 7 transgressions that we cannot do, that's it. Simple. You must become a trustworthy person. And you don't have to be some prideful, egotistical person about it. It's the bare minimum of being someone trustworthy. And if you know that you are trustworthy, be cautious of trusting other people accordingly, because there are some dirty people out there. Number 16, I keep my own counsel. This is more sort of ancient terminology. This term isn't exactly used as much in these exact words. It's the only one that I'd say take a bit of a pinch of salt with nowadays, because thankfully we are able to just give our opinions, especially online. But this keep your own counsel basically means, don't just be flaunting in your opinions. If someone's keeping their own counsel, they are sort of hesitant to just immediately just spit their opinion out. They sort of keep to themselves. They're a bit reserved, I guess you could say. Nowadays, I'd say you don't obviously want to be just flinging out uneducated opinions out there. That can be dangerous. I'd say give this a bit of pinch of salt, but ultimately, hey, it's just another virtue of, unless you really know the fact of the matter, or if you have a very good educated guess, or someone asks for it, then don't just be walking around just flinging your opinion out there. Or at the very least, if you do, know when to admit that you were wrong, because people are afraid, deadly afraid, to admit the most powerful 3 words: I was wrong. So know your basis, have a good foundation of evidence, I guess you could say, before you just start flinging your opinions out there. 17, I speak positively of others. Again, online now, people, they gossip, they just immediately, they're going to call someone a slur, or just completely just talk crap about someone. In the workplace, in family settings, I see it all too often. People are just horrible about other people, and it's a shame, because this should just be the most basic thing of the golden rule. Expect that if you are talking badly, especially if it's real bad and often about someone else, chances are, if you're around someone and they are talking badly of someone else, chances are they're going to be talking badly about you behind your back. It goes both ways, and if you are this sort of person that just gossips all the time, it may be fun, it may feed into your ego, and you can occasionally have a little bit of a laugh of someone if they're a bit silly, but understand that everyone stands in their own right. Who cares, unless someone's wrong in what they do, if someone's really they need to be spoken out about and against. unless they're like that and they really are doing something wrong, they need to be called out. If they're just expressing themselves and you want to gossip to your friends about it and, take the mick out of them, it's childish. And it's, hey, maybe I'm the party pooper, the pop in your bubble for this, but gossiping with people, unless you're like 13 years old and you're some, teenage girl, move on from the gossip. I mean, all the soap operas nowadays, they glorify it of just, talking nonsense about people behind their back and just being so in the earthly realm of what happens, just, junk. If you have any spiritual sense about you, you'll realise there are things that matter so much more, and you should respect people so much more than to just immediately show your true colours when you start talking nonsense about someone. It's bad. It may not have immediate effects, and okay, you can do it behind closed doors. Speak nicely of other people, at least, and then by the laws of karma, they'll speak nicely about you. It's the golden rule. Is it so much to ask for? Number 18, I remain in balance with my emotions. People now are way too emotionally flip-flopping all over the place. We spoke about this when I spoke about the brain. This is the mammalian brain, the emotional centre of us. We all have it. It's to be understood and utilised. Our emotions definitely have a reason and have a purpose, but being a flip-flopper with your emotions, just completely, if an emotion arises, you completely immediately act upon it without rationalising it or trying your very best to understand and work on your emotions so that you can feel certain ways about certain things when they arise, instead of just letting other people emotionally manipulate you, because this is one of the huge control system tactics, is emotional mind control. Nowadays, think of the children, think of the poor people and what about grandma when it was COVID time? They play on your emotions, and unless you have real balance in your emotions, someone else who has more understanding of how you can manipulate these emotions, they are going to be playing you like a puppet on a string. And there are many techniques of doing this, but you can balance your emotions, and because we are programmable beings, you can really work on it so that your emotions arise when they need to, and you can, you don't have to suppress them, because that's the root of a lot of troubles that we face, but work to balance them. I'm trustful in my relationships. Number 19. Again, people nowadays really cannot be trusted, but we should, if we're in a relationship with someone, a family, friend, member, whatever, especially actual love relationships, you want to be trustful. You want to trust them, not naively, because then they will screw you over and it will hurt. If you're in a loving relationship with someone and they screw you over when you trusted them, it's going to hurt, man. Trust me. So be wise in how you trust people, and you want to obviously find someone that's reciprocal in that, and then that's the real connection. That's when we really have an emotion, a real relationship, when you know wholly that someone else is loyal and that they are trusting, and then it goes both ways. That's the real relationship. So obviously you want to work towards that. Number 20, I hold purity in high esteem. Nowadays, everything, and everything that isn't is soon to be artificial. Everything's fake. It's obfuscated. It's played on to make it just junk. They don't have sugar anymore in sodas and certain foods. They have artificial sweeteners. They have, artificial intelligence, the big encroaching creature that's coming for us all. Artificiality is pervasive, and it is the foundation of all of the dystopian ways of living. So if you instead remain pure and respect innocence and purity, if you really respect that and seek it and work upon it in yourself, you don't have to be perfect again, but you want to understand that purity is crucial, you're going to be in a much better place. You hold it in high esteem, because purity will bring about good things. Number 21, I spread joy. Speaks for itself. Hey, in everything you do, try and spread a little joy. You don't have to blow smoke into people's face, more metaphorically. You don't have to be, talking them sweet little nothings. If something has to be said harshly, if something negative has to be spoken, by all means do it. If it's true, that should be respected more so. But, don't just be some arsehole walking around. Try and spread some joy to people because, hey, in this world, many people need it. Number 22, we're halfway now. I do the best I can. Most people, I'd like to say, try, or they say, I do the best I can. Is it really your best? If it was your best, chances are you're not going to give up. You are going to keep going until you physically cannot do something anymore, or you're physically unable to. Most people think that they try their best. It's why most people fail financially or in achieving any of their goals. They think they've done their best, but the second that they get tired, or the second that they just, a little inkling in their emotions says, oh, it's getting hard now, they stop. That is not your best. Your best is being ferocious and non-stop doing it. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be some machine. You don't have to even do it in the end. But trying and doing your very best is at the least you could do. Especially when it's something that really matters, something that you really aspire to. I communicate with compassion, number 23. Compassion is key. When we speak of, later on in another episode, Freemasonic symbolism, it's not all bad, by the way. When I speak of that, you'll understand that the symbol of it, the compass and the square, the compass of this actually represents compassion. Compassion is the thing that should be our compass, our guide, the thing that directs us. Being compassionate, being really, truly caring, ties into, respecting other life forms, being joyous, things like that, but being really heart-based, compassionate, it's key. And communication is the best way to reflect this. If you really communicate compassionately, again, even unconsciously, people are going to recognise that. They're going to resonate more with you. They're going to be attracted more towards you in all ways. If you really communicate with compassion, it's going to be powerful. I listen to opposing opinions, number 24. Nowadays, people act like they're listening. They think they're listening. They listen to a tiny bit of it, but after a few words at best, they are just sitting there in daydreaming, waiting for their moment to talk, to spew out their opinion. You really want to listen. As much as I'm against atheism, for example, if an atheist was to come up to me and start speaking about it, I'm not just going to hard-headedly go, nope, not listening, la 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 la, don't care, I have my opinions. People are all too happy to do that now. They are so set in their ways. And even if they are set in their ways of something that's true, like I am in certain things, you still want to give people the time of day to listen to their opposing opinion. Because at the very least, if you're not going to get convinced of their point, maybe you will learn something. Chances are you will. Give them a chance. Listen to their opinion. There's something that you will gain from that. And give people the chance. Really listen to them. And then again, reciprocally, karma will allow you to be listened to as well. People don't have the ability nowadays. Their mind's rushing around. They've got this monkey mind. Stop. Listen. Quiet the mind. If someone, even if they have the polar opposite to you, a Nazi could speak to me, and I would listen. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to agree. Give it the chance. At least respect that they are speaking their opinion. Give it the chance, and then respond. Number 25, I create harmony. Well, how do we do that? By following all of these virtues, by respecting truth, by living a righteous life, by respecting the Creator and divine intelligence and life itself. That is the only way we can bring about harmony. You want to know the truth? Harmony can only be brought about through respecting the truth, living in love, seeking freedom, most importantly, being a moral, good person. That is how we create harmony. That is the law of freedom. It's the only way that we can create freedom. Spoke about it in a past episode with order versus chaos. Only way to bring real order is morality, is love, it's sovereignty, knowledge. That's the only way. Everything else is just going to create chaos. fear, confusion, cowardice, chaos. 26, I invoke laughter. I know I'm not very much of a jokey man. A lot of this stuff I speak about isn't very funny. I try to interject humour where I can, even if it's dark humour. Sometimes humour doesn't have the right place, and sometimes it's hard to interject that unless you're a comedic genius. I try my very best because humour very much can allow people to be receptive to information. Sometimes it's hard. It's quite hard to with my information because it's quite heavy. It's quite just direct. But when you are speaking with people just on it about anything, try and invoke a bit of laughter. Everyone loves to laugh. The chemicals in our brains just fire up, Everyone loves to laugh. Everyone loves to have a good time. I think it was Kierkegaard that said the best way to, paraphrasing here of course, the best way to react to life's disasters, the chaos and confusion that's all around us, is to just laugh at it. Because a lot of these things, if I see just the mass surveillance that's being rolled out in the UK right now, and certain things that are just blatantly just nuts, evil, sometimes if you don't have much power to it, you can just laugh at it and just go, are you serious? And I find myself doing this way too often now because it's funny. It's sad, but it's funny how stupid some people are, how rapidly we're descending into dystopia. Sometimes you just got to laugh and just, make yourself feel a little good about it. Sometimes it's just the only coping mechanism we have. So try and do that, of course. Number 27, I am open to love in various forms. We've spoke about in the past the highest form of love, agape, the love for truth, for righteousness, for good, for order, for God. Agape, that's the highest form of love. But the other forms, eros, philos, the love of other people, of concepts, things like that, they play their role. We do want to love friends, family, and things like that. But the highest, of course, is agape, the highest form. But be open to love in all of its forms, because as you'll come to see, as you go far down the rabbit hole, the God of this creation isn't a man on a cloud. It's love. Thing that governs everything. The true way to bring about harmony and order is love. Love is key. Truth and love and freedom. That's the ultimate recipe for harmony. Number 28, I'm forgiving. Turn the other cheek. Doesn't that mean that if someone's just constantly being an arse to you, you're just going to sit down and shut up and take it and just, be a pacifist punching bag? Obviously know when to turn around and say no and walk away, but be forgiving. Try your very best. If you're trying to present the truth to someone and they keep slapping out of your hand until they turn around and say, I don't want to hear it anymore, turn the other cheek, give them another chance. Be forgiving. Understand that so many people are just completely confused, mind controlled, manipulated. Basically everyone is in some form. Understand that. Have some compassion, have some understanding and empathy towards people, and forgive them if they really, especially when they are wrong. When someone really is wrong and they admit that they are, when they really want to be forgiven, forgive them. If they're not sorry, just like the Creator, don't, say, yeah, sure thing, buddy, sure you're sorry about that. When they really want it and deserve it, forgive them. Don't just be so hard-headed and prideful that you will not give people a second chance. Number 29 speaks for itself. I'm kind. Be kind to other people. Be nice. It's the very least you can do. I like to think that most people are nice this day and age. They're kind. That isn't the be-all and end-all of being a good person, but it's the very least you can do of just be kind to other people, because you don't know what situation someone else may be in. A little kindness, a nice little smile might be the thing that changes their week and makes their day for them. So where you can, try and be kind. Don't just be some, arsehole. Number 30, I act respectfully of others. Again, respect people and they will respect you. It's a mirror. Respect is what it's all about. It's earned, not given. If you really respect other people and act respectfully and have some modesty about you, it will reflect and it will magnetize right back towards you. Respect what it's all about. You don't just want to be the jester that no one respects, and you're the funny guy, maybe the class clown, but behind their back everyone's just laughing at you and they don't take you serious. Respect is key. I'm accepting. Nowadays, I'd like to think that people are somewhat accepting of some things, or at least it's popular to be, with the whole LGBT and diversity. People virtue signal in thinking that they're accepting of someone else because they want to be a different gender or a different sexual preference. I couldn't care less what your preferences are, gender, anything like that. I don't care. I'm accepting of that. Most people are, but they want to have that as some big personality flag that they wave. It should be the bare minimum. We should just accept other people. Everyone's in a different situation. Unless someone else is harming someone else or forcing it upon someone else, let them be them. It's not. Is it so hard? If someone else has a different skin colour, a different race, culture, let them be. Unless they're infringing it upon you, which sometimes they are. Don't get me wrong. Accept them. It's stupid that in 2025 we're still so discriminatory and prejudiced against some other people. It has its place, maybe, if it really is pervasive. Sometimes it is, especially in the UK. But if we're not accepting of other people, it's just this. It's divide and conquer, and this is one of the huge tactics of the elites that they use to control us. But not only is this accepting of other people, it's accepting of what cannot be changed. It's the prayer of serenity. Understand what you can change, what cannot be changed. Certain things must just be accepted, and just, you can just step back and say, certain things I can't control. There are many things that you can, so focus on them, but accept and understand what you cannot control. It goes both ways. Be accepting. Number 32, I follow my inner guidance. This is when we really get into the goodness. Your inner guidance, the quiet voice that's speaking at all times, at all moments, in your heart, in your mind, and in your gut. The three brains that we have. There's a little voice speaking at all times. I know you can feel it sometimes. I know you can get that little tummy rumble sometimes when you think something that's clearly incorrect, or you're coming up with a certain thought and you think you want to do something, or your immediate emotions make you want to have that big pizza, but then a part of your mind's just saying, hey, chill out, maybe go for the size smaller because you don't want to be some fat bastard. There is always a little voice that's speaking to you at all times. This is intuition. Follow it. There are many practices you can do. Meditation, at the very least, will help you quiet this monkey mind that we all have, this ego, this constant chatter, yap, 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 yap. It's all too escalated nowadays. There are ways that we can quiet that. The way that I do it, you just want to smack that monkey mind, punch it, get it into its place, and make it realise, hey, there's another voice speaking here, and this voice is much more important than you. Let that whisper speak. It's a quiet whisper, but it is the divine intelligence, your higher self, trying to speak to you at all times. Follow that intuition, and you will be astonished of how often it is correct, how often it actually wants you to do what is right and achieve your greatest desires and your highest purpose. If you follow that, great things will come to your aid. Your intuition isn't just there for new ages. It has a purpose and it exists in us all. It's a matter of, will you listen and act upon it, or nudge it off and let the monkey mind take over, the ego take over. Number 33, I converse with awareness. Again, somewhat self-explanatory. Be aware, be kind, be accepting, be compassionate, be aware and observant as much as you can in your conversation. Be aware of how other people feel. Don't let that completely dictate what you say. Again, if something has to be harsh, has to be direct, has to be said to someone, maybe you want to say it sometimes in a nicer way to get a better reception of it, but be aware of how other people feel and think and their predispositions. Try and keep that in mind. Be aware of it as much as you can, and then work upon it. Don't have to let that, stop you from saying the truth, but converse with awareness. Speaks for itself. I do good. Very self-explanatory. This should be number one, quite honestly. Doing good is the key It's the only way that we can bring about freedom. It is the thing that must be foremost and central to everything we do. Is it good? Every time someone gives you an order, it's every time you go to do something, ask yourself habitually, is it good? Is it right? Hey, is it kind most often? Doing good is necessary. Number 35, I give blessings. Once again, it's a mirror. Give and you shall receive. Blessings to other people wherever you can. Try and make their day. Even no matter what way it is, if it's a smile, if it's, that bit of change to the homeless person that really needs it. If it's someone in need that's lonely or upset or whatever, give them some blessings. It doesn't have to be an actual gift. It doesn't have to even be money. Whatever you can, try and bless other people. And don't fully have the motivation of being, I want to get it back. Chances are you will, because it will reciprocate, but just give blessings to other people unconditionally. And your heart and soul will be in a very good place. Number 36, I keep the waters pure. You might be thinking this is a bit of a weird one, and it does reflect, obviously, maybe they were talking about the environment in ancient Egypt, of, keep the seas and the rivers clean. We don't do that, of course. It's as above, so below, and it's quite funny how it's turned out that way. In mass scale, we haven't exactly kept the waters pure. Most rivers, especially the seas near where I live, filled with sewage, filled with, plastics and junk, and the fish are all dead. It speaks volumes. If we can't even keep those waters pure, we're not going to exactly keep the internal waters pure, because anyone with, common sense most often these days, our body is mostly water. We are basically a water being. And as a side note, that's why the moon is so crucial, because it influences the tides in the sea, as above, so below. It affects our body as well. But the point is, we have water inside of us. Keep them pure. Purity is powerful. It's necessary. If you keep these waters pure, if you drink clean water, filter your water. Don't drink tap water, filter it. There's many ways to do that, and I'll speak about it in the future, but reverse osmosis, for spoiler alert. Keep them pure. Respect and understand the waters inside you. Keep them pure. Keep them clean. Your body is a temple. I know that's some new agey woo-woo spiritual thing, but it is. That's why all the temples of ancient are built just like the body. It's as above, so below. Again, if you keep the internal waters clean, everything you do and think will reflect that. It will be purer. Number 37, I speak with good intent. Basically mirroring what was said in 11, I offer words of good intent. Same applies. Try and speak in the motivation, at the very least, of trying to better someone else and intend to do them better. Don't just speak without thinking. Have good intentions, at the very least, of when you try and speak to other people. Because, again, you can make someone's day. Keep that in mind, and don't expect anything from it. Just have good intentions towards other people. Again, it will reflect. 38. I praise the goddess and the god. I know this is a bit not monotheistic for all you Christian folk. I'd like to think that it's symbolic at the very least, but there is a goddess and god force, the masculine and feminine, the Trinity. There are different expressions of this creationary force, but everything that you do when you are serving truth and love and freedom, you are basically praising the creator, the god and the goddess. It has many different reflections and different, at least metaphoric representations, but if you really praise and respect, not worship of getting down on your knees and offering all this gold to an altar, really inside yourself at the very least, understand and respect and act for the will of the creator, of the goddess and the god, you will be divinely protected. There is no other protection, no higher protection either, of when you're living a life serving the goddess and the god. It doesn't have to be some pious, I wear the fancy monk robes and all this lovely jewellery and all this, I go to church once a week. That's the exoteric. That's what they've told you is worship. God doesn't want to be worshipped. I'll just say that here and now. That might be almost blasphemous for me to just say. You'll find out if you do your own research, and that's what I advocate for, but it doesn't want to be worshipped. It wants to be served, yes, but it wants to be understood and conversed with on the personal level, and then it wants you to align your will with its will, and that will is freedom, it is order, it is harmony, peace, love, the things that perhaps we once were before we were taken over by a demonic force, ultimately, which is a whole different rabbit hole. But a life in servitude of the Creator, whatever you think that is one of the highest good. 39, I'm humble. Obviously, that common sense, thankfully. Some people are better than others at doing this, but be humble in what you do. Say, sometimes if you do something really good, you can get recognition, and it's nice to, be a bit prideful in certain things, but try it. It's a balance, of course, it's not ideal. Try and keep a good balance of being humble, prideful, work on that. You don't want to just be some big bragger, because no one's going to like you. Not that that's what matters, but humility, you're going to get the best result. Number 40, getting close to the end now. Achieve with integrity. Everything that you do, that you achieve something from, you want it to be standing upon foundational first principles. When you achieve, you want that to be with integrity. You want it to be, integral to what really is true and what really matters to you. You don't just want to be doing stupid achievements. Oh, I got a good rank on my video game, or I got my fancy little trophy of something that's just junk. They can be fun. Everyone has their little hobbies and things like that, but you want to understand that if what you do, the things that you really achieve in life, you want them to be integral. You want them to stand on first principles. Those are the highest good. Those are the greatest achievements. Those are the times when you can really be prideful and, not look down upon others, but wholly, deeply understand, hey, I've done some good here. I've stayed true to what really matters. Number 41, I advance through my own abilities. Everyone on this planet was born with different abilities, talents, predeterminations, gifts. Some people are better than others at certain things. Embrace that. We don't have to be all the same. We are equal in our rights, but that's it. Embrace that. Do what you can to discover your talents and your abilities and utilize them. They've been given to you for a reason. They are gifts, and it's not an accident that that's the case. Accept them and run with them. I have certain abilities, I have certain gifts. Some still advancing, of course, but that's why I've chosen this route of spreading this message instead of, being a musician or an artist. It's a different means to the same end. We have certain abilities, certain gifts, and they are to be understood and ran with. They are gifts of the Creator, and they allow us to be different from each other and do great things. You may think that you're just some average Joe, I'm just me, little old me, working down the supermarket. You are if you say you are, but it doesn't have to be that. Every person, I can guarantee you right now, have some gift, one at least, that what brings me joy, what am I really good at that is beyond anyone else. What can I really work on to progress and get even better at? Everyone has one at the very least. Run with it, and you'll be surprised where it can get you. It may not be financial greatness, but hey, you're running with your gift. And finally, number 42, I embrace the all. If you want to talk about what God is, the Creator is, it's the all. Yes, it's truth, love, all that stuff that I spoke of, but the all is what God is. If someone says to me, give me evidence of God, if you really have your head screwed on, you just laugh and say, give me evidence of no God. I mean, everything that you see and do and are is God. It's not some external force, some man sitting on a cloud, or some, goddess figure, some picture in a temple building. God is everywhere. The all is creation. It has a creator. I'm not here to tell you exactly what this creator is specifically, because that's for you to discover. You don't need a priest in the middle. You don't need a fancy robe-wearing person in the middle. Go within. Converse with the divine intelligence that is present in all of us. We are all reflections of this, and a human being is the perfect example of the greatness that is creation. We're not just meaningless hunks of meat that live for a little bit, eat junk food and then die. You can be great. You have dormant forces within you that are godly. Perhaps once upon a time we were more in harmony with these, but what I am trying to do at the very least is to help us remember you have these powerful forces in your hand, and everything in the mainstream society is preventing you and making you forget that you have such power individually. And then when this collectivizes, insane things can be done. That's why the elites fear resistance, because they know the numbers are incredibly unbalanced. The 1%, if that, is controlling this whole 99%, and even if half of that 99%, the critical number, really awaken, we could travel interstellar, genuinely. So we are reflections of the Creator. And the highest good, beyond all of this, is embrace this. Know that the all, the everything, the different dimensions, the different forces, the spirit, it's all around us. Beyond just what we see in our 5D senses, there are incredible things that are going on. We see nothing in comparison to what really exists out in the world. And embrace this. Understand we see a tiny amount of what's really going on, and everything, every opportunity, resource, piece of matter, everything is just another reflection of both the mind, but also the mind of God. This is the all, the spirit, the pervasive everything, the infinite everything. If anyone's done DMT, you'll understand behind this veil of our tiny senses, the VR headset that we're all wearing, it is infinity in all directions. That is the all. It doesn't go anywhere. We don't see it for a little while we're incarnated into this earth, at least for now. That is the all. It's hard to understand for your average person. If you really understand and respect what this all is that I'm speaking of, you will be humbled by the greatness of it, and you will realise it's been in front of my eyes all along. It's not just some big evil judging figure that's sitting up in the sky looking down at me, judging every tiny little thing I do. It is everywhere and everything. It reflects all around. It is a spirit, the underlying force of nature. And so, hopefully I haven't drawn out any of these points too much and you're still here. But if you understand these 42 ideals and have them as ideals of things that you really aspire to, and try your very best, one by one at least, to integrate into yourself, the more that you build them up, you will gather a huge, incredible understanding of the omnipresence of the Creator and truth, and the importance of love, harmony, order, morality. When you really understand those, and you deeply, with the base of your being, respect them and value them beyond anything else, beyond money especially, you are able to live your life virtuously. You will get incredible blessings. I can guarantee that. You'll get minimal obstacles. You'll have incredible synchronicities and things that just seem a little too weird that they happen that way. It's no accident that happens, and you can maximize those by living with these ideals. And beyond all of that, that second that you take that last breath one day, you'll have the smirk on your face. You'll have the hairs raised on your body, realizing I am about to depart from this very brief drop in the ocean of incarnation in this one life. And I know that when I fade off into existence, when I take off the headset and go back into the all, I can rest assured without any doubt, without any belief or faith, that what I've done in this lifetime has been aspiring towards the highest good. I've lived a good life, not perfect, but I have aspired to do the will of the Creator. I've tried my best to help others. I've tried to actually leave somewhat of a legacy. You feel the comfort and the readiness that you are going to be put into good hands. And metaphorically, you know that scale of your heart and that feather, it's going to be in your favour. And great things to be coming for you into eternity. Not heaven or hell, but pure beauty awaits you. Immense power awaits you. Incredible things are at your disposal. All it is a choice away. It's about what you stop doing and then slowly start doing more and more, and help others do the same. And only then will you really start stepping into the slipstream of creation and gaining this shield of the creator, this armor, and you will be able to manifest anything you like, and you will be true, spiritual, eternal being of light. It's all a choice. You can shrug this off. Most people will have turned this off after a couple minutes because they're not strong enough. But if you're listening to this right now, you are powerful beyond belief. You can achieve anything that you put your mind to. And there is no accident why you're here right now, firming out what I'm saying. You've come this far. You are powerful beyond belief. You can achieve your greatest desires. And I'm here rooting for you. I hope you've enjoyed. Again, it's quite a long video, but this is incredible, powerful, hidden information that will empower you and allow you to do what you were here to do. If you've made it this far, please leave a like, share it around so other people can understand this powerful information. Leave a comment of what you think, of how it's helped you and where you might be in certain things. Leave a comment, share, like, subscribe preferably, post notifications, all of that stuff, so that this can reach far and wide and that we can really get this movement going. Because unless people understand this information, I guarantee, unfortunately, this world is going to fall into a very dark place. We're seeing it happen now, and unless people honour these ideals that I've spoken of, there's not much hope. And the change starts with you. You want to know who has the power? Look in a mirror. This has been Morality Matters with a long one. Great things are to come. Like, subscribe, share. Remember, there is one rule. Only one rule. Do no harm. Honour creation. Understand truth, love and freedom are all that matters. No masters. No slaves. I'll see you next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Peace out.